Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for the long-awaited second season from Twist of Fate. This one is called Atari Twilight: Age of Always. We have the Keystones back here with us. But as always, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon. Link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord link. Join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, there is the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, Greg unleashes horrible nightmares from his mind onto the players and their characters that you see here before you. And two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to this channel to help with all kinds of cool things like art, promos, new projects like YouTube and podcasts and all kinds of fancy stuff. So yeah, if you're inclined, hit the tip button down below or type in hashtag something. That being said, I think one of the tags we have here, one of the commands.
Michigan.
That's right, Michigan. That's the one. And with that, that's enough for me. I will turn things over to our wonderful, amazing game master, who's currently not torturing me and my characters. Greg, please take us back to Garrett, Maryland.
Well, thank you, my friend. And before we get started in the 80s that may have been, I just wanted to thank everybody that you see on screen, all of the Autobots from Atari Twilight, of course, Mike and the unMadeGaming community, because this has been a not necessarily a labor of love, because it's a shared experience of telling a tale with everybody I just mentioned, the UMG community included. This is my favorite thing. And so with that being said, why don't we tell another tale? So my friends, this time, as we turn the page on a new book, as we crack it open and experience the smells and the sights that our minds can imagine, there are no raven's wings, no bird's eye view of Garrett. No, this is a song sung in steps. The first step has not been taken. The concept of life evolves with age. The present of youth becomes the chapters of life lived as teens become 20-somethings and 20-somethings become parents. As we age, our perspective shifts from a calendar recounting of the years and instead bundles each stretch of time into seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. Stevie Nicks once said in song, "Can we handle the seasons of our life?" It's in the return to nature when the living begin to turn their eyes away from their beginnings and instead focus on their eventual ends. Have you done enough? Have you loved enough? Did you possess passion? What is your legacy? Who will remember you? And should you be remembered? As that last question echoes in all of our consciousness, should anyone remember you? We see a pair of pale blue eyes. We pull back slightly, and instead of seeing the eyes continue, we see a reflected surface, the warped, fish-eyed vision of the Keystones. Heather, Ricky, JD, Scarlett, and their companions, Lion and Van Halen, reflects back the product of Randall Flagg's mirrored sunglasses. Van Halen says, "So what is it?" Flagg says, "What's what?" "Your favorite song." Flagg smiles. Everybody, if you could turn to your Atari Twilight Age of Always Episode 1 there, playlist, please go to the final song on that list and play a little Over the Hills and Far Away. And so a fellowship is formed, one that will unravel the mysteries surrounding all of them, one that will take care of the mysteries surrounding all of them. And that is this story. That is Atari Twilight Age of Always, Episode 1. And so we begin our session in a brand new tale, for ours is a never-ending story. So none of the Keystones will forget the adventures they've had. This is a new page. What came before is set. Those tales concluded. Those problems and mysteries solved. New challenges await our heroes as they leave behind all they have ever known. All that remains is a farewell and a journey, as is the way of all legend. Flag looks at all of you. His reflection and your reflection look back. Grab any gear you think you'll need. It's time to go. You can say goodbye to your loved ones if you want, but they'll not notice your absence if you choose not to. In fact, maybe I suggest not telling them. They've already been through a confusing bit of stress, and a few of them are still a little rattled. And with that, he steps back towards the wall in the kitchen of the Lewis farmhouse, turns around and looks through the screen door into the cold New Year's Eve night. What do you all do?
I think Scarlet takes one last long look out the window at the swirling snow. And she looks back towards the Garrett proper, thinking about her other friends that they made and what they're going through. And she has no idea what they're going through, actually. And she reluctantly turns away. And she will walk and go pick up the bat that she dropped on the floor. She looks at it and it's covered in green goo from the gremlin Langolier creatures that they fought a few hours ago. And she wipes it on her pant leg. And then she just kind of looks to the others and waits.
The great graying lion that is ever present beside Heather Jones does what would be with a cat, a little nudge against a shin or an ankle. But Heather, this almost knocks you off your feet as the lion kind of bumps into your shoulder and your side. Peter, what's going on? Ooh. Are we done?
Oh, Kitty, I don't think we're done. I think we're going on another journey. Promise you'll never leave me, okay?
I promise I won't. I ran this far to get here. I'm going nowhere. You can see his bottom lip quiver when he says it, but there's a bit of a strength in the eyes of the great cat.
Heather wraps her arm around into his mane and around his neck. Together we'll be strong.
The purr that answers you is also vibrating your entire frame as you are kind of with an arm around the neck. It's so profound. It's like a rattle made out of boulders. Ricky, JD, Ricky particularly because this is your home. The flag has mentioned that it's time to go. Is there any gear that you all grab? Is there anything that you don't already possess on you that you want to take with you? Anything you can think of.
Ricky walks through into the living room where the parents are. He walks up to his father and says, "Sir, I'll get all the chores done before nightfall." And he puts out his hand to shake his father's hand. If he takes it, he shakes his dad's hand, turns, heads back to the kitchen, grabs a coat and a hat, and just gets ready to leave. He takes nothing else.
Your father indeed grabs your hand as Reggie Lewis holds you firm. You've clasped hands with your father many times. You're used to the large nature of his grip, the rough, worn and worked calluses on his hands, even in the heart of winter when there's really no outside work to do for normal folk. but for people on a farm, there is always work. And your father's injured. You can tell that he's favoring his side. His back appears to be bothering him at the very least, but his face is stoic. And as you clasp hands and look at one another, if Ricky allows him, he pulls you in for a hug. And
Yeah, he does.
like the man, like the handshake, it is powerful, it is weathered, and it is filled with love. And when you pull back, he reaches up onto the door, the peg beside the door, and he pulls his hat down and gives it to you. If you put it on, he flicks the end of it. Take care of yourself, son.
Yes, sir.
Good boy. JD, what do you do?
JD is not too far away from the group, but a little bit on an island. And his hand is in his pocket, fidgeting with a trinket that he has, watching his friends do what they need to before leaving. But he's just kind of taking in the last little bit of being here, kind of feeling like we've completed something, but also knowing that this is probably the true start of something different.
And a mirror to that thought comes from your pocket. It's all starting now. Can you feel it? As the ring speaks to you.
Yep. I can sense it.
As can I. Let us make a pact, the two of us. To protect one another.
Okay. I can do that.
As can I. If you need me, I am here.
Same.
And you feel the ring as it flares in your pocket. It's not hot. It's warm. It's comforting. It's a friend. And it stands ready.
I squeeze it in my palm with a similar, maybe care that he sees Ricky and his dad holding each other with.
And with that handshake with the ring, where Ricky felt strength and the worked nature, you feel the same strength. But instead of the calluses of a life built on a farm, you feel the intricate edgings of inscription carved. No less a testament to the work put in, different. As you all, anybody else, Scarlett, your parents are not really they're a little out of it. They're still kind of coming to. Does anybody take this moment to say goodbye to their parents? I know that Mr. Lewis was given a fond adieu, or do you heed what Flag said? I'll never know you were gone.
I think she just gives them a little wave. And she just says, "Wait here, okay?" And then she looks at Kyle, her brother. And she just gives him a small smile and goes, "I'll be right back."
I'll watch him. Scarlett, I'll be careful. Because of his proximity to youth, he is no longer considered young by the age and the rules of the day. It's close enough, though, that he seems to be a little bit more with it than the others. Be
And when
careful.
he says be careful, she just nods. And then she quickly turns and she walks out or towards Flag.
On your way to Flag, there is a pop. All of your ears begin to pop painfully and start to ring. And
Ah,
as you all react to this, you hear Flag from the door. As you see him holding his own ears. Something's wrong. So you see his face drop. It's gone. Oh, my queen is gone. Quickly grab hands before the future's set. Grab hands. And he
What?
reaches out for all of you. My friends, what do you do, and in what order do you form a circle?
Scarlet spins around and I don't know who's closest to her, but she will quickly reach out and grab whoever is closest. JD JD with her right and Heather with her left.
Okay. For no particular reason, I'm going to note that. JD.
Mundane hand holding.
Totally mundane.
Heather, you are holding on to Scarlet. Who do you grab hold of?
Heather still has one arm wrapped around Kitty,
Okay.
the lion.
Then Lion, Van Halen is going to grab hold of the lion, and Van Halen reaches out for, oh, let's go, Ricky. So, Ricky and JD, guess whose hand you get to hold? As he reaches out and you both grab the hands of Randall Flagg, forming a circle. And just before a veil of light comes over you, you hear Randall Flagg say, "It's gone. The loop's gone." And you disappear. My friends, please, if you would, over the hills and far away. No, we can't handle the hills and far away right now. So instead, what I would like you to do is go to The Edge of Forever by the Dream Academy. Cue that up on your playlist. You all are flying through stars, but they're not stationary. They do a bit of a Millennium Falcon as you see trails coming off a few of them as they whip past you. And you are all in this circle, tubing through this space. But there is a rock from behind you, a wave that rushes from the rear forward. There has been a change in Garrett Prime, a profound one. And it is trying to catch you before you can leave. You see, and Ricky and JD feel the strength in Flagg's hands as he dives faster to get away from it. But in so doing, a few of you feel your grips begin to loosen. My friends, with your conditions from last season intact, with your injuries in play, your loss of luck and pride, I'd like you all to roll me some force.
One success from Ricky.
2 for Scarlet. Damn.
No luck from Heather.
Scarlet,
Same.
you are, this is just my favorite. The people that have failed here are JD and Heather. Scarlet, strangely enough, you are holding on to both of them.
Yep.
With that extra success, who do you choose to save?
Fuck. Oh
You feel them
shit.
both slipping. You feel them both being pulled away from you.
Mm.
You can consolidate your strength. In which hand do you do so?
Mm. Greg, what a mundane question you just asked me.
I always try to keep everything mundane.
Yes. She just she cries out with effort, and she's taken back a few hours to when they saved Ben and George from the slide. She's going to consolidate her effort. She cries out she cries out with the force of the effort she puts in, and she goes and she puts their two hands together.
Well, that's sort of baller. So Scarlet sacrifices herself to join the hands of JD and Heather.
Yep.
Cutting yourself off from the circle.
Yep.
That's fucking baller. I wish I had like a fake reward you for that. You know what? I'm going to give you a free success that you can't use right now.
Okay.
And that is called the price of friendship.
Price of friendship.
As you connect the two hands together, you feel yourself being pulled away, Scarlet. And JD, as you and Heather are now holding hands, JD, you hear in your mind, JD, it's our time. We can save her before it's too late.
And if any voices can be heard in this maelstrom of Twilight or wherever they are, she just yells, "Don't let go!"
And JD, you can see her being drugged back towards that wave that is coming forward, that wave of change from Garrett Prime.
What do I have to do?
Join us, the ring says. Hey, everybody. Go over to your Spotify playlist, and I'd like you to play some Sweet Child of Mine, which I believe is JD's song.
That it is. I am not gonna let go on this one.
You hold on, and everything slows down into one of those moments of amber as the first couple chords of Slash kind of plays in the back of your head. This moment where your life flashes before your eyes, but it's not your life, it's the life of Scarlet. You see the interactions that you've had, the passes you've caught from her as she's thrown them on the football field, the adventures of plenty experienced in Garrett. You hear the ring again. I can save her. We can save her. But we can't do it as strangers. Share a secret. I'll tell you one as well. And you hear the first honest thing you've heard from the ring. I crave power, but I am not evil. I am an extension of my wielder.
So just tell a secret?
What it seems to want. And if you want, this is just us. There's nobody else around here. I can ask G and Necro and Melissa to take their headsets off if you want.
I don't know how much they know already. Like if I've told the play. Yeah, go ahead. Take them off.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay,
please,
wait.
please and thank
I'm not
you.
wearing headphones. I gotta do something.
Tell us when you're good. Or just lie.
I'm trying to figure out if this is a. It might be a secret to the characters, but not to the players. I'm not sure. Okay, so the secret is my parents, who I stay with, and they're not my parents. They are my aunt and uncle, but he calls them dad and mom. Don't know if I've said that already, but
I don't believe that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And in your mind, you hear the ring say, "Good. We are no longer strangers." And I need you, my friend, to do one of the following. How many conditions does JD have?
He has one. He is injured.
If you take afraid, the ring will do its job. Or scared. I'm sorry. I think it's scared.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Everybody can put their headphones back on. I'll point to. Scarlet, can you hear us, G?
Yep.
As you yell, "Don't let go," you feel yourself not being let go. And as you slipped away from the grasp of JD and Heather that you joined together, you are brought forward again. And this time, Flag reaches back, letting go of JD for just a second to grab you as you come within proximity. And he pulls you forward to join hands with JD. But for a moment, JD, even through the sunglasses, Flag's eyes lock with yours. And you can tell he has no idea how you just did that.
Good.
My
Yeah, I
friend,
think Scarlet would like grab onto Flag's arm as he grabs her. It's like, oh shit. And then she will reach out and grab JD's with her other hand.
now, my friends, we are in what is called a race in time. There's one way that we can get out of this quickly. We can all start to roll our best skill. And if we get 5 successes, we make it through. If we don't, well. But each of you would feel this. If you decide to take the broken condition, one of you, that'll be enough to save everyone. Just for those of you that are watching, the broken condition means that you have accepted every one of the possible conditions that your character can have. And for all intents and purposes, they can't roll. They will fail anything that I ask of them until such time as they can pull themselves together.
Greg, can we attempt to get the 5 successes first?
No.
Ooh, Gregory. uh, Scarlet does it.
Damn you, G.
Fuck it.
And so how this plays out in the narrative is as Flag is using all of his strength to stay ahead of the wave from Garrett Prime, he finds a second wind and he draws from it and he feels you all being pulled away. And it's not until you fully escape the kind of the pull and the gravitational effect of the Garrett wave that Flag realizes it's not his second wind that he's pulling from. And Scarlet passes out in his hand as her head slumps down. And it is up to JD and Flag to hold the now unconscious Scarlet as you all rocket in the space between. An hour later, you all come to rest in what looks like a beautiful forest. It's crisp, the air is clean. It's perfect. Scarlet is still out You all gently come to rest in this grass that seems to have never been stepped on, never been hindered, never been broken. The broken is now the domain of Scarlet. She lies at your feet. Flag drops to his knees and pulls off his denim jacket, kind of putting it over Scarlet, even though it's not that cold. It's a bit chill, but not something that would need protection from the elements. And he looks around at all of you. I don't have my power. Can you? What do you all do when this happens?
Whatever you have to.
What do you mean? What do we do? This never happened. Scarlet's always okay. And Heather's going to get down on the ground and pull Scarlet's head into her lap. Scarlet, are you okay? Wake up, Scarlet.
I think she just passed out, you know? Just have to give her some time. She'll wake back up. Flag, where are we?
Before Flag can say anything, Lion moves up beside Heather. Oh, where are we, Heater? And Van Halen looks around and her head snaps back towards the group. He's taking us to the between. He's going to get us all killed. And Flag looks up at all of you. Your generation. So dramatic. Scarlet, you wake up, but you feel empty.
Oh. And like she blinks like very blurry eyed and she looks up. Heather? Oh.
You're awake.
What happened?
Are you okay?
I don't know. And she rolls over. It's like, I think I'm gonna be sick.
Oh, not on me.
What? Where are we? Oh. And she kind of just lies on the grass. What happened?
Van Halen is still just eyeballing Flag, like watching him. And he hasn't moved a whole lot. He's still very close to Scarlet, making sure everything's okay. The only thing he's done is lit a cigarette since you all got there.
Flag, where are we?
Hey, you said you wouldn't do anything to harm us. What's happening here?
I didn't. We are in the between. Van Halen is correct. This is the space between all the worlds.
What does that mean?
Where you were trying to go?
Wanted to be a little bit closer to the cabin, but we're about a day away, it looks like. He stands up and kind of looks at the hills around him, the ones that are visible above the trees.
Greg, we've been in forests before in dreams. I think all of us. Does this look similar or?
Very similar.
Do any of the trees look like the tree that Van Halen had? Or are they all like normal trees?
They all look normal to the point where, Van Halen's tree specifically looks metallic almost, that it has kind of like mineral elements to it. Its leaves look like it's some type of reflective material that was made of. Nothing like that. This looks like a forest that could be right outside of Garrett. Now, granted, there are just about any type of species of tree you can think of. There's elm and hickory and oak and pine. Everything is kind of in this forest. It's not one or the other. And everything seems incredibly clean. And that's because of the air too. It just seems almost like it gives you strength as you breathe it. It's like it's got more oxygen in it or something.
Ricky looks... Oh, go for it. No, please go.
Heather stands up and offers Scarlet her hand. Are you okay? Can you stand?
You can, G, but it's tough.
I don't know. And she holds up her hand and her hand is like shaking. And then
Heather will pull her up as best she can, and then wrap her arm under her arms to provide some support.
yeah, and then as she gets to her feet and you're holding her, she puts her hands on you like for stability, and she's like, "Boop," and then she will rush over to one of the trees and she's gonna throw up.
Well, at least she's well enough to do that.
I think we should go. We should start moving as get to the cabin or wherever you're trying to go. Like now, probably.
As good a place as any. We're not going to make it there before sunset. We only got about an hour or two. We can walk it tomorrow. Take less than a day. We just need to make camp. Anybody? You can see that there is a look on his face like he doesn't expect there to be anybody. Maybe the farm boy. Anybody here know how to set up a camp or a fire?
Ricky nods. He looks at Flag and says, "Is it safe here?"
Is it safe anywhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some places are.
Not as safe as you think. Where the animals will stay away, even the big ones. And he gestures over towards the cat. He smells scary.
All right. Ricky looks towards the sun. There is a sun, right? It's not like there's some weird. He looks towards the sun, tries to figure out how long they have, and just looks and says, "We don't have long." And Scarlett's going to need a rest. And he starts walking off towards the edge of the woods, start collecting what they need to set up a camp.
And everything that you would presumably need, the ability to make a fire pit, all of these can be fashioned from, you can dig a small flush out with rocks and whatnot and bring it with everything you would find in a normal, earth forest can be found here. And the weather and the world look right. You would think that it's probably like a late spring day here. There's still a bit of a chill in the air when the sun starts to go down. And to kind of, piggyback off of that, at one point Flag will say, "It'll be warm enough if we sleep near the fire. We'll be to the cabin tomorrow and not have to worry about any of it. Don't have much food unless you have anything with you, but we have some at the cabin. We'll get there tomorrow, like I said. I know you've got questions. I'll do my best, but I'm sure you'll be pissed at my incomplete answers if I don't have them, but I promise to answer and try I shall."
Well, Van Halen said that you're here. It seems like she thinks this is dangerous. She said you're trying to kill us. What is that?
Flag answers, but he looks at Van Halen when he says this. I don't fault her for thinking that way. That's what she's been told. She's been told this place is dangerous. This place could kill people. It's not. Those are stories designed to act as gates to keep people out. The powers that be don't want folks running around here. It confuses things.
What does it confuse? You said you would teach us. What does it? I've had enough with people being vague.
Me too. He sits down, kind of moves his back up against the log that he's kind of pulled over for everybody. 3 or 4 people could lean up against it. He kind of puts his boots close to the fire whenever Ricky is done setting it and getting it blazed. And he looks around at all of you and just says, "This is the age of always." That's what they call it anyway. It's been here forever. It was Eternity Road. It's a path between all the worlds. Wars sprung up around it. People come and go from this place, but only a few of them stay all the time. Those few are the ones you got to know about, be cautious of. The other worlds, they touch this one. They may be here for a day, an hour, a year, then they're gone. You can get to all of them on the road. The rest of this place is dangerous only to the people that are in charge, people that create walls, people that don't want you breaking them. I don't listen to many of those rules.
That's clear.
When we're done here, Ricky, you're not going to listen to many of them either.
I'll try.
I figure what we're looking for and what we need to find to figure out who's behind all this nonsense. Whatever the hell just happened back there, they're here somewhere, hiding out. They either jumped off one of the worlds and got here, or they've always been here. This is where we'll find them, and this is where we'll make them stop. Enough of this puppet strings and killing worlds that don't deserve to be killed. It's up to us.
What puppet strings? You spoke of someone behind the scenes doing something strange happening. But what are you seeing? For us, everything has been strange. What's strange
Right.
to you?
I got to keep that in mind. You all, this is the first time. Kind of shakes his head. Let me start at the beginning. I've traveled all the world. Everyone. I found that there was something wrong in your garret. Something off. I could tell that someone was messing with the way things were supposed to work out. And then they changed things, redid things. Change whole years, decades. Get it just right. At least for whatever they're working on. For me, I went to the Queen. I wanted to change it. The Walker, Arkaville, and your Garrett, I wanted to take them out in the 60s, but they would not let me. They said the balance would be skewed between good and evil. I tried, even though they told me not to, and I failed.
Skewed in which way?
More good than bad, more bad than good. Their whole job was to keep the scales balanced. Somehow they thought that would work. But obviously did not.
And now are you
Now
still following the rules, or are you breaking them now?
I'm staring at 4 reasons that I just broke them as he looks around at all of you. It's against the rules to bring anybody here, and I brought you all. I can't do it by myself. We need to figure out how to finish this, how to make things right, how to put things back, and let the universe and natural selection decide how things work. We got somebody playing God. And I do not abide by that.
Is that what happened? And she motions up, like from wherever they came from. Whatever that was in that place that was trying to
I don't
pull
know.
us back. Is it trying to stop you
Yes.
from bringing us here?
Not directly, but we are a change from your Garrett. Something happened there just before we left the loop.
You
Disappeared.
said what do you mean it disappeared?
I don't know.
Where are
Things
the
disappeared.
others?
I don't know. If we had stayed there any longer, we would have been swept up in the change that becomes the future. We were expatriates of a forgotten age. I had to get us away before we were lost to the changes.
We avoided being what? You said the future was going to be set in stone. How does something get set in stone? Everyone has decisions that they can make and choose to not make. I don't understand that.
He kind of nods as he's trying to figure out how is the clearest way to say this. We had stayed in Garrett, our futures would have been in a Garrett without a loop.
Okay.
And that's not the future that was supposed to be. But we got away. And now we're a Garrett from where the loop still exists. Does it make sense?
So someone changed what was supposed to happen in our Garrett. Someone interfered. The thing that they told you that you can't do.
Yeah. The thing that made your Garrett special was many different characteristics. The number one being the loop. The loop and the energy that was beneath the surface combined made Garrett, your Garrett, special above all others. But I don't know what happens to it now.
I think Scarlet slides down on the tree she's leaning against. Are they dead?
No, not yet. Worlds are like people. They live, they're born, they live, they die, all in the cycle that they're supposed to. Some of them are cut down in the prime of their lives. Some of them go on forever. Your Garrett was one of the ones that was supposed to go on forever, but I don't know now. It was already getting darker when we left.
So
We've got to find this person, and then we've got to put the loop back.
We find them. Find out everything that they've changed, everything that they manipulated. We set it straight. That's our job. Someone's been fucking around with time and space. We can't have that.
So we're going to time travel.
He smiles. Time travel is a dangerous business. Once you time travel, well, there's a price that needs to be paid. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to find what we need here. We're going to let it come to us.
when you travel between places, it's like traveling between cities, but not time. Is that right?
Correct. As long as we're here, in all ways, taking the road, we're not jumping through time. It's coming to us.
Okay.
We're
So
going to stay here.
For a time.
so the first plan is to get to the cabin tomorrow. From then, what's the next step?
Well, JD, I got to train you. You can't walk around here through the age of always with nothing but your wit and whatever else you're carrying. He stares directly at JD.
Our wit's gotten us this far.
Don't need more than that. I'm not like Maggie. I don't hand you those weapons. And he points to the sword and the guns and the bow. I don't hand you those and send you on your way. I'll teach you how to use them. You can be armed. I'm going to make you dangerous.
I don't want to be armed with a weapon. I'd like to know. I'd like to learn
Really?
more about the worlds. You seem to always know who's where. How do you do that?
Well, that was my magic before, but now, and he looks at Van Halen, all I can do is travel. Swore on the word. Gave it all up.
Who'd you give it
Get
to?
some rest. What's that?
If you gave it up, who'd you give it to?
All of you.
Okay.
Get some rest, everybody, especially you, Scarlet. Got a long walk in the morning. I'll take first watch.
Ricky looks up at him just before and says, "From what you've said, you can't complete our deal until we solve this issue, right? Because our Garrett no longer exists to go back to. We can't go back to when we left until this is done."
We can go back to the second that we left. Problem is, we'll be swept up in the change when we do.
And we won't be in our Garrett after that. It'd be the changed one.
It won't be the one we left.
He nods. Do these people know that we're here? The ones that we're going to stop? Are we safe from them?
He actually looks around. Not yet.
He nods.
I'll leave y'all to it. He gets up and he takes about a dozen or two steps away from the fire. You can see him just by the glow of the cigarette. You know, it's gotten dark enough now that everything's kind of dim. We're past twilight, heading towards midnight. What do you all do? Do you sleep as Flag suggested?
Scarlet, do you need anything?
She just shakes her head. She's like pale. Her lips are kind of blue, and she kind of crawls, or almost army crawls towards the fire, and she gets as close as she can to it.
Heather? Ricky? You guys need anything?
Do you want my backpack? You can use it as a pillow.
Are you talking to Scarlet?
Scarlet. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. If you don't mind.
Yeah.
And she looks to Heather and GD. Are you guys okay?
Freaked out, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it, though.
I don't know what happened there, Scarlet, and if maybe what you did was like why you feel so bad, but thank you.
I don't know. I just feel so weird. I felt you guys slipping out of my grasp. So
You're so strong. But you
I
should
know.
rest now. You should rest.
She just nods. I don't feel very good.
Maybe in the morning it'll be better.
She just nods, and she takes the backpack, and she like curls up in the fetal position facing the fire, like hugging the backpack, and it looks like she's trying to like keep warm, and she closes her eyes and goes to sleep.
Lion will look up at Heather and nod, and Lion moves over behind Scarlet and kind of lays down and throws his bulk against the back of Scarlet, so the fire will warm one side and the Cowardly Lion the other. Van Halen is standing off by herself.
I was hoping she was sitting down. Ricky will stand and walk over to check in on her. You okay?
She looks up. This isn't right, Ricky. We're not supposed to be here.
But isn't this how he does what he does? That's what he says.
Yes, but he's not supposed to be here either. This is against all the rules.
But someone else has broken the rules as well. They weren't supposed to take our loop. They weren't supposed to change all our lives. They weren't supposed to bring a war into our town. They weren't supposed to throw you out of your home into our world. Someone's done stuff, and if this is the only way we can solve that, do we not take the opportunity we were given?
You can see the conflict on her face, and tears start to come down her cheeks. Luckily, these are not tears also mixed with blood. But she looks at you, Ricky. I promised that I would never do something like this. I promise. I swear.
Who did you make that promise to?
She lowers her voice to the point where Ricky, only you could hear this. Mister, when I came to your world, I promised. I don't know what to do.
Well, we've got to do what's best for the band, right? Look out for each other. Keep each other safe. And he looks across at Scarlet. Make sure we all get to where we got to go.
She nods. You can see that she's conflicted, but you're making too much sense. Everything that you've said, she's experienced and she knows to be true. And she knows that everything that you're restating is something that she herself believes, but it's that old adage, what comes first, the promise or the lie? And it's, she's having difficulty trying to define those, but she just nods. It's confusing.
He gives her a big hug. We need a rest.
Reciprocates with more strength than she probably should have, but
we need a rest. These are problems we can solve another day. No point dwelling on them now.
She nods and follows you back to the campfire.
Ricky finds somewhere to sit with something to lean against, if there's a log or a tree or whatever. He sits with his back to that, with Van Halen by his side. And he pulls his hat down low enough to sort of hide his eyes, but he doesn't sleep. He just sits and watches. Is Flag smoking off in the distance?
You can.
He watches the light as Flag moves about and just keeps an eye on him.
He stays out there. And if you stay up all night, he never comes back to trade watch. Heather, JD, I'm assuming that the two of you rest.
Heather will look out, her eyes moving from Ricky and Van Halen to JD to Flag, and teenagers, they have no screens. And she'll look sad and confused and occasionally angry, and she'll pull up her hoodie and go to the other side of Lion and put her back up against his warm back, and turn her own back away from everyone else and go to sleep.
Maybe like a minute or two into, that hazy, I'm almost asleep, but I'm still awake, you would feel a tap on your shoulder, or Heather would feel a tap on her shoulder. Van Halen is beside you. Heather, can I sleep beside you?
Sure, it's warm here. Lion, Kitty, he's the best. He's the best pillow.
She looks at you and says, "You've been asleep in my tree for the last year. I can't sleep without you." And she just lays down beside you.
Sweet dreams.
JD?
He kind of would be sitting around the fire, kind of doing a similar thing, just looking out at each person as they're having their either individual conversations, watching, like taking guard and going to sleep, and After he'll stare into the fire for a little bit before getting tired himself and falling asleep.
You don't hear from the ring, but you have a sense of contentment that you know isn't your own. The next morning comes, and if everybody will go to your Spotify playlist, please. And I would like you to go to, let's do a little Ship of Fools by Erasure. That is the 3rd track down. My friends, as you wake up, it is another beautiful day here in the Age of Always, and Flag already has what meager belongings you all brought kind of packed up and ready to go. He has made like a makeshift, almost a stick with a bit of fabric kind of bundled up, kind of loose items that you all have. And he has it over his shoulder as he begins to walk through the clearing, the small clearing you're in, towards the far forest. And he just looks back. We should be there well before sunset. Let's go. How do you walk? Who follows Randall? And by no reason for what anything. In what order do you guys walk?
The mundane order of march, you know.
I mean, of course. I mean,
So
why
mundane.
would I possibly need to know anything like that?
How's Scarlet?
Yeah, I'm assuming that the sleep did not heal anything, correct?
Correct.
Okay. She is walking slow. She's probably last if anyone allows her, or if anyone like pays attention, she's gonna be last. And yeah, she's just staring at the ground, concentrating on where she's walking. Very slow and like calculated steps to make sure she's not like gonna fall over or something like that. And she's like hugging herself a little bit, like she's cold.
Right. And this is the feeling to kind of put it into something for you, G.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet would feel like if Scarlet ever got her bell completely rung in a game, where the next day you wake up and the entire body hurts, even from the point of impact to the point where everything kind of bent the wrong way around it.
Mm-hmm.
That coupled with the feeling you get just before you get sick, that point where you go, oh shit, I'm getting sick. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. And so it's, just a full body, tip to tail kind of exhaustion and pain. Flag, Scarlet, who's in between.
Ricky would be concerned about Scarlet being at the back in case she falls off by herself.
Sure. You
Um,
want to be back there with her?
yeah. Just because he would know that if one person is sort of struggling and the people in the front aren't aware, they'll just march off and leave them behind. He, at military school, had to help his fellow kids at school, making sure that people were able to complete marches. And so he would be at the back there with Scarlet, making sure she's either keeping up or everyone else is slowing down for her.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and she would, if he offers any kind of support, she would take it.
If you accept the support, would you accept it from Van Halen as well? Because she would get on your other side. And
yeah.
Then that's how you're walking. Ricky, Scarlet, and Van Halen in that order. Ricky, Scarlet, Van Halen.
Heather would be up behind Flag with Kitty at her side. And you can assume that as she's walking with Kitty, she's almost always got her hand tangled in Kitty's mane and is running her fingers through it. I think years of maybe being a little bit affection starved. Now she finds Kitty a great comfort.
And Kitty loves this, he stands there and he's kind of bumping into you as you walk, not deliberately, but just he can't get close enough to Heather. And you're also kind of along for the ride whenever a butterfly comes by and he jumps and you kind of have to hold on to him. And then he tries to play it off. And So it's a whole thing with Kitty, but
I know their beauty. It's startling, isn't it?
yeah, I had the colors. It was the colors, Heater. I never seen that blue before.
That's what I think too.
You stay beside me. I'll take care of you.
I know I'm always safe with you.
Right. He puts a little into it. You all walk for the better part of a day. Any opinions you had on this land as far as its perfection? You can't find any counterpoints. When you pass by creeks, it's crystal clear. This place is absolutely ripe with wildlife. You can hear flocks of birds in the trees. You can hear just out of your vision the crack and the movement of large kind of game animals. And a couple times something much bigger. Ricky, because of farm life, and all of you because of the kind of the rural nature of Garrett, may be able to recognize the sounds of a bear. And this is something that you hear that snapping off in the distance. Nothing ever gets in your way. You meet no other people as you cross this area. And as the sun reaches its zenith and begins to go down, flag stops whenever you all need to, drink, rest, he never sits down in a weird way. Ricky, he might remind you of your father a bit in that approach. But as you all continue to go, it's probably, if you had to guess, around 3 in the afternoon when a cabin appears in the middle of a glade. Its logs are pristine. It looks as if it's been lived in. It looks like it's currently being lived in. No smoke comes from the chimney that you see, but there is no state of disrepair. Nothing seems overgrown. No damage. And Flag turns to you all and presents the cabin. Mikasa Sukasa.
Where
Get
you
in there and
live?
rest up. One of the places. This one's my favorite. You can tell there's a measure of pride.
I guess it makes sense that you don't live in a dark tower, but
What?
no, never mind.
Funny you. All right. And he walks up towards the house and just opens the door. It's not locked. He doesn't produce a key. There's no catch. He just opens the door and inside you go. Everybody, if you jump on over to roll 20, I will show you
Ooh.
inside of said cabin.
Oh shit. Oh,
You
nice.
should all be able to see that now as you walk in. It's small. It's got a kitchen, got a living room, got 2 bedrooms on the ground floor, and 1 great room above that has 4 beds in it. The room above actually looks down onto the room below in the kitchen. It's small in nature, but it's cozy. And it smells pleasant, like leather and pine. Unless you hate leather and pine, in which case it smells like shit.
Well, what now?
Now I teach you.
Okay. Let's
You
do
can
it.
get started today, or you can take another day to rest, but you might need that. He looks over at Scarlet. You all seem a bit, there's a, Ricky still has a cut across his chest. Everybody else still has various things going on. This place is yours now, so rest, get your heads right. Tomorrow we start. I can teach you the basics of everything about the Age of Always. I can teach you about its magic, how war is done here, about Eternity Road itself, people of Always, the word. Y'all decide what you want to learn about. The more you know, better armed you'll be. I'm not like Maggie. Maggie's many things that I'm not, and I'm many things that she isn't. I'm a tough teacher, but when you learn, You won't forget it.
You don't have to keep saying bad things about Maggie.
I'd never say bad things about Maggie. She and I just have a different approach.
All right.
She bakes her bread. I get mine out of a can.
Scarlet looks like she's gonna throw up again. And she motions towards the fireplace, or like the fireplace. She goes, Ricky, can you help me over there? I'm so cold.
Yeah, Ricky helps Scarlet over, moves over to the fireplace and gets the fire roaring to sort of warm up.
He goes over to Flag goes over to kind of like the wall beside. There's kind of like a built-in nook beside the front door where coats hang, and you see that there's all basically the same type of coat. It's like one of those like shearling, like fluffy furry jackets that seem to be just hand stitched out of some type of animal hide that's been cured and made super soft. Everything here is yours. There should be enough. I got clothes that can fit anybody in the back. Take whatever you need. It's yours. Should have plenty of water in here, plenty of food. I'm gonna go out. I got a larder out here. I'm gonna bring in some meat. We'll be good. If y'all need anything, you can't find it here, you tell me. I'll be around. I'm not going far. And he walks out the front door.
Greg, I have a question. Within this game, is there a way to sense out like my feelings towards can I tell if he's telling me the truth?
Sure,
or us
yeah.
the
You want to
truth? Is he leading us
basically-
astray in any way?
right? You want to do basically like an insight into him, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, he stayed out and keeping watch the first night, and now he's kind of leaving the group again. He seems to like to walk away.
Sure. Roll me an empathize.
Empathize with 2 negatives. 1 success.
What you get from Flag right now isn't necessarily a sense of manipulation by any stretch of the imagination. You get a sense of insecurity from him. It seems that now, and some of you have tried this before with Flag, and I didn't even let you roll, but it seems like Flag has changed a little bit. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe he doesn't have his magic anymore.
Right. He's a little
defenseless.
He's concerned. Yeah.
So
He's a
yeah,
little
but
off his game.
right. This kind of this anxiety that he has isn't necessarily anything to do with manipulation. It's more like, am I doing the right things? Is this how you talk to kids? Am I being, am I saying the right things? Am I doing the right things? He's almost like a host that has never had somebody in his place before, which is exactly what happened. Nothing pings off of that success, JD, that would seem to be of a nefarious intent, if that's the kind of the broad look that you're going.
Yeah, well, just maybe not even nefarious, but just like, again, not telling us the whole story. Like maybe he's, I don't know, doing something a little shady outside that.
Yeah, you know what you did. That's okay. If that's what you're looking for, you can tell that he's keeping some things to himself, but they don't seem to be important things. It's not like he's hanging some bit of super information back from you all. In many ways, he seems very open. You think it's more like him trying to figure out in a measured approach to tell you all these things without overwhelming you.
Gotcha.
That's
okay.
more of what you get from him. Like, am I doing this right? Am I talking them the right way? So insecurity is really kind of what you feel most from him.
Okay. Well, at least the place is nice, right?
Scarlet just nods. She takes there's like, I'm assuming there's like a blanket draped over the back of the couch, and she just wraps herself in it, and then she just curls up.
There's a big kind of like bearskin throw that's right there, and there's strangely enough, there's a lot of pelt type of things around here. There's like a bear, and there's a tiger, and when Kitty walks in, Kitty sees all that and says, "Oh my!" and then that's.
Are they skins on the ground, or are they hung up on the wall?
No, they're not. They're not displayed as trophies. They're not, or ornamentation. They're more for utilitarian use. They're like, if you check the beds, you will see at the bottom of the foot of the bed there will be some type of like an animal skin to act as like a secondary blanket. But nothing in here indicates a trophy. There's no heads on the wall. There's nothing that would speak of, I made this kill, and
There's no like elephant tusks, like ivory hanging on the wall or something.
No, it's not something you'd see in like a game hunter's place. This looks like somebody that, for whatever intents and purposes, at some point killed a bear and thought, I just can't, not use the skin. So
Heather will find that lion fur and will fold it up and find a place to tuck it away and say, "That's gross."
I think I knew them. No, I'm just joking.
Jesus,
Greg.
That's my cousin
Hey.
Keith. Right.
Greg, from
No.
a mechanics perspective, we've never experienced broken before. I don't think you've even seen broken before. Can you tell us a little bit about broken, and if there's anything that we can do about it?
You absolutely can, and thank you very much for bringing it up. But to begin a recovery, or whether it would be a single condition or the broken effect where you have assumed all of the conditions like Scarlet has, there are several ways that you can take care of it. One is if you are in your hideout with one other kid and you spend some time there, you will eventually feel better. The upset condition goes away, the exhausted condition goes away, and thus your broken condition goes away when you no longer have all four of those. Another way to do this is if you are with your mentor, your anchor, the person that you consider to be your adult touchstone, really. And if you're able to kind of spend any length of time with them, you can remove a condition. The other way is between two kids kind of by themselves. One kid rolls a lead, and if they get a success, then they're able to take away a condition from the other. And this is almost like a planned segue, Melissa. What I was going to tell you all is all of you have conditions. And so there's two ways that we're going to do this. For right now, because we're in the age of always, and we're obviously, quite a distance away from the hideout that you all have cultivated. The cabin, and in the declaration that Mikasa Sukasa, that is your de facto hideout. And so if you spend any time from now until when the cabin is no longer accessible, you have the same benefits. So by morning, when you wake up, Scarlet included, all of you will feel refreshed and healthy enough to continue your journeys, even though, obviously Ricky's not going to wake up and that gash he had across his chest from the Gamork is going to be gone. It's just not going to hurt, and it's going to be healing as, he comes up. That's the effects of the Tales from the Loop system as far as hideouts are concerned. If anybody wants to roll a lead right now, you can begin to take away conditions from people before you were to rest. And that's up to you if that's something that you wanted to try. But if not, I will assume that you all are going to spend yet another night here in Always inside the cabin. And if there's anything you need to do from now until waking the next day, let me know. We'll RP it, or I'll tell you what you need.
So
Heather's going to want to spend a little bit of time with Scarlet and chat with her some. Scarlet, back at Ricky's farm, I'm sorry if I know I was the first one to say yes, and I could see that you were really mad about it, and I don't know. I hope it's okay. Do you think I did the wrong thing?
I don't know. I'm not mad at you guys. It's just, I don't know. I guess I feel like taking this deal, it makes me feel like I don't trust the others to get it done. She takes a deep breath. You're supposed to trust your teammates to do their job. Everyone has their own tasks that they're supposed to do on the field, and everyone knows what their own duty is, and you're supposed to trust your teammates to get it done. And I feel like taking this deal, it makes me feel like I don't trust them. I don't know. It sounds stupid saying it out loud now.
Am I on your team?
She nods. Yeah. You and Ricky and JD and Van Halen and Kitty. She smiles a bit.
Oh, I don't know football, Scarlet, but you'll always be my quarterback.
Thanks.
Heather would like to roll lead.
Oh, let's do it.
Damn.
Very few times do I say to myself before a roll, please succeed. Please
Yeah.
succeed. Tales from the Loop and your unforgiving system, please succeed and just give us. Thank goodness that is a moment that absolutely needed that. And so with that roll, you're able to feel your soul lighten a little bit. You're on your way to recovery, Scarlet. The conversation with Heather.
Can I remove some conditions or do I have to wait?
Yeah, take 2 and take them away.
Okay. I think I'm going to remove upset and scared. Yeah, so she smiles at Heather. Yeah, thanks. No, I'm not going to let you guys down. And she looks around. She looks out like towards the door, like where Flag went.
Hey, everybody, real quick. Did I just get a Michigan bar?
Pretty sure you have
Number
like
2.
You
two.
have 2 now.
It's your second one.
I have 2. I haven't been paying attention. It's like Christmas.
You could keep not paying attention. That's okay.
Yeah.
Fan-fucking-tastic. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, community. This is a fun, super fun times. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry. What would you all like to do?
I think she'll reach over and take Heather's hand and give it a squeeze. And then she smiles at her, and then she's gonna pull the blanket up and like hunker down into it. And she's gonna go to sleep.
Is there anything that the rest of you would like to do mechanically or narratively for your characters? Or would you prefer me to take us to the next sunrise?
Bacon, do you want to go first? You got
Well, can I just look around the cabin and see? JD's gonna look for what he might think is a personal trinkets of for Flag, like things that he actually cares about.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna need you to roll me an investigate.
Damn.
Bacon,
What a bummer.
I love you, buddy. So I'm just gonna tell you this. It's a good thought. Put a pin in that.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Yeah, so just before Heather sits down, has a conversation with Scarlett, Ricky walks over, puts a glass of water down for Scarlett, making sure she's got something. He starts to make his way towards the door and stops beside Van Halen and just looks at her and says, just make sure they're all good. And he walks out the door. He is going to go and try and find Flag outside.
The easiest way to find anybody in this pristine air is to follow the smell of Marlboros, and that leads you directly to Randall Flagg, as he seems to be coming out of what looks like a smokehouse for meat, because it is. And he seems to be coming back. He has like a rack of something dark. He has kind of over his shoulder a little bit on a stick that kind of dangles behind his back. Hey, Ricky.
Sir, is there anything I can do?
Call me sir.
Force of habit, sir.
Call me Jackie. I like that.
You're not supposed to call an adult by their first name. It's disrespectful.
You don't have to follow that rule here. I tend to not like rules.
I've heard. I don't like to leave chores undone. He stops himself from saying, "Sir, is there anything that needs to be done? I can't just sit around."
He just looks at you. Damn, you remind me of something. You could use some wood. You know how to chop wood?
Yes, sir. Where's the axe?
Axe is in the shed beside the pile. Should be ready to go. Not too much now. Save your strength for tomorrow.
Never leave a job undone. I'll get it done. And he turns to walk off.
He walks up to you, and if you will allow it, you can tell that he is going to clap his hand on your shoulder. Would Ricky allow that, or?
Yeah, he wouldn't stop him.
Yeah, he claps his hand on your shoulder, and he kind of doesn't point in your face, but kind of points. That type of attitude's going to serve you well. Never leave a chore undone. And he kind of takes his hand off. Shit, I think the same thing. Never leave a chore undone. That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to do. And he starts to walk off.
Ricky smiles, and he walks off to the woodshed.
The axe is where you expect, and it's initially when an axe is said, there's a woodsman's axe. You think, oh, flathead blade. This is a double-bladed axe. It looks more like a headsman's axe than, something used to chop wood. But it's the only axe, so.
Ricky checks it to make sure it's sharp. If it's not, he will look around for a whetstone of some sort.
It's super sharp.
Perfect. Then he would make note of where it was, because everything's got a place and it's got to go back there. And he begins to chop a huge pile of wood. He would probably spend a couple hours doing that.
Okay. I would say, too, just for a narrative conclusion to this scene, that just as Ricky determines that he's done is when Flagg is on his way out to tell you to stop. And when he sees that you are finishing, he just tips his hat and turns back around, knowing that, you are both of like mind as to when enough was enough with this. And if nobody else has anything, we will adjourn to the following day. You will all wake up to the smell of eggs, bacon, and coffee. Eggs, Scarlet. There's even a couple hard boiling, because fucking why not?
Sweet.
So, Chef Flagg is there, and he is, preparing everything. He's got water out. All right, everybody, today's the first day of the rest of your lives. Who's doing what?
I think we're all going to school, right? Isn't that what you said?
I gotta go to school even here. Damn.
Oh, you're not going together.
Oh, where are we going?
You tell me what you want to learn. I'd recommend each of you are learning a specific thing, but if y'all want to double up, I'm certainly not going to be able to stop you. You heard about the things that I can teach you. Tell you about the people of this place. Tell you about Eternity Road. Tell you how to find your way around and navigate. Tell you about war. I can tell you about the work. What do you want to learn? And now, my friends, It is up to all of my players to tell me what they would like their character to learn, as you are all about to get, or at least attempt to get, a new skill here in the Age of Always.
Hmm. And just to be clear, what you said before, we spent the night here, so am I healed fully?
Everybody, your conditions are gone.
I am.
All of them?
All of them.
What
Okay.
about pride?
Wow.
Pride's
luck?
back. Luck's
Okay.
back. You have been reborn. Welcome to a new campaign.
What's up?
Ricky looks to Flag and makes sure that he does not look at Van Halen. He says, I want to learn more about this place and how it connects the worlds.
You want to learn about Eternity Road?
He nods.
Good boy. Turns to the rest of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read so many books and great heroes who have the ability to do magical things, and I saw Van Halen do a little bit of that too, and so if I could learn to do that, that would be great.
Magic. I surely can teach you. Scarlet, JD.
It'd be nice to know who we're up against and who's when. So, if you could teach me that,
People.
all of them.
I surely can. Scarlet.
I want to know how. I want to learn how I can protect my friends and keep them safe and keep our world safe from threats that are going to come.
You want to learn about war?
Yeah.
I can teach that too. All right, everybody. Now, to be clear too, Chris, you wanted to learn about Eternity Road or navigation. What did you?
Eternity Road.
Eternity Road. Okay, just wanted to make sure they're similar. So, all right, everyone. Scarlet, JD, Heather, you wait here. Farm boy, you're with me.
Scarlet's stuffing her face.
The two of you walk outside into the glade that makes on the exterior of the cabin, and he heads right past your wood pile that you made. And for the next 20 minutes, you walk until you can see the tree line letting in light. And as you walk through that tree line, you see that there is a blacktop highway in the middle of this forest. It looks like a 2-lane yellow line down the center. Yellow segmented line down the center. He turns and looks at you. I know it don't look like much, but this is Eternity Road. Look down. Don't touch it. Look down that way. Look down that way. There isn't any place or any wind that it won't take you. Rule number 1, never, ever, ever walk on the road unless you are ready to leave. You will not be given the chance to step back off. Rule number 2, if you want to travel in a group, the entire group must take to the road at the same time. Your feet must hit the blacktop within heartbeats of the first to travel. Rule number 3, whoever's the guide, that's you, Ricky. The guide must step on the road first and be the last to step off. Got it?
Yes, sir.
He walks over and he sits down in the gravel just off of the blacktop. If he wanted to, he could lean forward and touch it, but he's kind of crisscross applesauce in his jeans, just sitting there, and he pats the gravel beside you. Being a guide on Eternity Road isn't tough once you get it, past this first part anyway. The road is very picky, and will only allow those it deems worthy to guide others across its surface. This part of the road is in fall, but just down there, he points in one direction, just down there it's summer. Move on down there. As you all walk down about 50 yards, you can feel the air get noticeably warmer. The heat and the sun seems to increase in temperature. Now you can see the heat coming off of it, can you? And now there's a haze of heat coming off the asphalt of Eternity Road. Sit down there by the road. Don't touch it. Sit down close to it.
He does.
Put your hand out, palm down. Put it just over that asphalt. Ricky doesn't feel any heat. Now, my friend, you must sit here until you can. You must sit here until the road feels warm. Think of who you are. Think of why we are all here. Introduce yourself to Eternity Road. Explain the you of Ricky Lewis. Give the road a reason to like you. As soon as the sun starts to set, your time's done. Now the Lewises know the land. That automatically gives you a step up in the road's mind. You know the old roads of Garrett, don't you?
He nods.
That farm of yours is on one of the oldest paths of your land. I was there in 1893 when your family bought that land and built your homestead. Nearly a century passed. Where does the time go? Ricky, I couldn't help but notice that when we were sitting in your kitchen, there were boxes everywhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like one of the loop's crooked deals. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
You know we could fix that, right? It'd be easy.
Isn't that the same meddling that we're trying to stop?
No. Who's to say they didn't change it to stack the deck against your family? We can make it right. It's Lewis land. It should always be Lewis land.
But who's to say that they did stack it against us?
And we make it right. It's wrong now.
If it can be proven to be wrong, I'll happily fix it. But if we can't prove it, we shouldn't change it.
Well, I can't now. You'll be able to once you and the road become friends. When the sun starts going down, come back to the cabin. And don't get discouraged. The road, he kind of whispers, it's fickle. I mean, it's a bit of a fucker, so don't feel bad about it. It's real picky. My money's on you, Ricky. You be you.
There's no point being anyone else.
Good boy. He gets up and starts to move away. Ricky sits there all day. My friend, pick me a skill and roll it.
Any skill?
Any skill. But I will remember which one you pick.
False. 2 successes.
Sun begins to go down. And though you can't feel it, you can start to see that the waves of heat coming off the asphalt slowly decrease. And you realize that your time here with Eternity Road is done, and you don't feel any different. Whether you follow Flag's advice and you aren't discouraged, that's entirely up to you. But it didn't work. Not yet. Heather, maybe 20 minutes after Ricky leaves, door opens and Flag comes in. Heather, you're with me.
Right? She'll follow him.
Lion gets up and starts to trot forward, and Flag puts his hand out. Now, listen up there, Big Purr. I know that you want to stay by her side, but for your safety, you need to stay here today. Oh. And he looks at Heather. But we just got together. We found each other.
I think it'll be okay, Kitty. I think it'll be okay. Stay here. I promise I'll be back. Do you trust me?
With all of my heart.
All right, we'll take a good nap right next to the fire.
He doesn't move, but when the two of you leave the cabin, you see Lion looking out the window to watch you leave. And if you look back, you see him duck beneath, but his mane still is visible beneath the windowsill.
As they walk, Heather says, I was thinking about it, about the times that, you came in to me in Castle Grayskull and in my dreams, and then, and on the phone. And, you said that everything was a test, and I realized that the reason you came was because, I'm the weakest, and so you had to test me the most. So, if you can make me stronger, I'm on board. Make me stronger.
That's the one thing I can't teach. But between you and me, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. Come on. After about 15 minutes of walking, you can actually still see the chimney smoke from this location. The forest opens up into a wide, relatively speaking, lake, bigger than a pond. And there is a waterfall pouring off of a cliff face on its far side. He points to it. That's our destination. Crystal clear water travels 50 feet from the top of the cliff face down into this pond, this lake. Now, the sound of the water isn't overpowering. It's not as loud as you'd think. It's just an ever-present kind of white noise in the background. He stands beside it, kind of as close as you can get to the cliff and the waterfall and the pond, right on the beach there. White sand leading down into polished river rock. I want you to forget everything you know about magic. And I know you read books, so you need to forget all that shit. There are no books filled with spells, no wands to focus your magic. I mean, some people carry them for show, but they don't mean shit. There are no magic words. You cannot hocus pocus or abracadabra your way into magic. Magic at its very core is a purification of the spirit. Most worlds, and the one you lived in included, begin to stain the spirit after you've lived in it for a time. The longer you're there, the greater the stain. Once stained, the spirit cannot learn or use magic. You are blocked from the ways of witches and wizards. See, he points up this waterfall. Waterfall is called Neo Heket Munare. Now we just call it the pollution's pain. Before magic can be learned, you must purify itself in its waters. Now, how do you do that, Randy? Well, like any relationship, this is built on trust. Lucian's pain, and he points to the waterfall, must get to know you. The things in age of always, they have preferences. You must, the old walk a mile in my shoes?
Sure.
You gotta
Go ahead.
walk a mile in waterfall shoes.
In the water?
Well, yeah, but there's only one way to do that. And he points to the cliff face, and you see at 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, and 50 feet, there are ledges right beside the waterfall. Now, I'm not asking you to trust me, but listen. The longer you're in the water and you're riding with it, the more it gets a chance to know you. So the higher you go, the longer you'll be in the waterfall on the way down. But the higher you go, well,
Higher you go.
yeah. So you got to purify yourself where any magic can be learned. And I don't know how long that takes because I always sort of could do magic.
Then how do you know? How do you know you need to do this?
Yeah, I've seen it done, and I've helped out a couple people to do it before. Watch that second ledge, though. There's a tricky part, but just climb on up there and
You want me to climb up the cliff?
yeah, and then jump off into the waterfall and ride it down into the lake. And then do that a bunch.
Can I change my skill?
Do you want to change your skill?
No.
Good girl. Just start small, maybe the 10 feet. You go to 10 foot, jump into the water.
Right now?
Yeah.
And she'll start heading in that direction, but she'll keep turning around and looking back.
He's watching. His boots stay planted on the beach where he left them.
Now the cliff face, it's just a natural cliff face.
But it's got, now that you get up on it, you can see that there are almost steps that lead to each of these levels. Again, it's not up to code. There would definitely be some violations here, but you could be able to press yourself against the cliff face and kind of step up on these as you're going up the cliff face.
And she does that, but as she does it, she's shaken hard, pretty much like Kitty was shaking, when they were sitting down by the fire, and she takes far longer taking each step than is reasonable, and is hugging the cliff as closely as she possibly can. As she slowly makes her way up.
How far does she go? 10, 20, 30, or 50?
She will get to 10 and will sit down and exhale. And then she'll wave.
You got this!
And then she'll stay up there maybe a good half hour before she can get up the nerve to take the plunge.
At about the 25-minute mark, Flag would yell up, "I'm out of cigarettes! Anytime!"
And then, so with that urging, she'll jump.
My friend, pick a skill and roll it. You jump into the water, and it's only a 10-foot drop with it, and it's nearly instantaneous. But for a moment, there's that feeling of being suspended, but you're being suspended in a rainbow or music or light. And then you hit the surface of the water and go down as the rest of the waterfall is kind of rushing beneath the surface. And you're able to scramble and pop back up from the lake surface. And Flag just nods and says, go ahead and keep going. Don't get discouraged. When the sun starts going down, head back to the cabin.
Okay. Okay.
And as he's walking off, you just hear him over his shoulder, don't get discouraged. The door to the cabin opens, and Randall Flagg walks in, points to JD. Come on.
Finally, let's do this.
You all start to walk, and within a few minutes, you hear a kind of a rumble of a waterfall. And as you're still a pretty good distance, 400 or 500 yards away, but you see a figure that, if you look long enough, is Heather. And every so often you see this figure almost silhouetted against this rushing white water. You see her jumping into the waterfall and riding straight down.
I don't have to do that, right?
No, please, no.
Okay.
That's crazy. Come on. He leans you, takes you over. You're still by the lake, but there's actually kind of like a little, like a tributary kind of creek that's coming off of it. And beside that is a lean-to up against a large moss-covered boulder. And he pulls kind of like a skin out of the way as a tarp for one side of the lean-to. Get on in here.
Well, okay. I thought I was going to be like reading a book or something.
Books. Shit. He climbs in behind you. And as soon as you get in, you realize that this place is warm. It's humid. There's a kind of a wetness, a moisture to the air. And you see in the center of this area is a little, almost like a cauldron, like a little pot. It's black and scorched with the fire that's kind of raging beneath it. And Flag sits down on one side and begins to reach back into a bag and pull something out that looks like a mixture of like dried grass and dirt, and throws it into the pot, and it immediately starts to bubble and smells pleasant. You want to learn about the people, huh?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Now, there's only one real way to learn about people. You can't read about them in books. Whoever wrote the book makes the person seem the way that they want them to seem, right?
I guess so.
All right. Well, see, the good thing is, here in Always, there's only a few people that are always here. No pun intended. There's the ferryman, the bishop, the gunslinger, the many-headed court, and the queen.
Okay. And which one are you?
Wait, this is just coming in. Oh, Bacon, this is Greg, and Greg says he's going to give you notes on all these people, so you don't have to write them down if you don't want.
Okay.
Well, I'm off the list. I was the man in black. Ooh. But it kind of took me off the list. I didn't pay my dues, I guess. Anywho, you must pick on these people who you want to focus your time and attention on. You're going to learn about them. You're going to see the world through their eyes. Because that's the only way to really know who they are. And even though they won't be aware of your presence, they will, for those that you look in on, they will automatically feel better when in your presence. They will trust you more. They will listen. Mechanically, this gives you an advantage whenever you meet these people.
Okay.
Now, the ferryman. Now, supposedly, the ferryman is the very first of Eternity Road's guides. Some stories claim he's the road's consort, whatever. The second being in the age of road. Think of him, and you will see his spirit. You will know his soul. Should a guide ever be needed, the ferryman is the best among them. Now, the bishop. I only mention her because, well, she's honest, loyal, strong, the very worst kind of person. I explain, she's good at heart, but she's a zealot. She has a strict code of ethics based on the Ten Commandments. She doesn't break them. She's driven. Only mention her because should any of you ever need healing, or God forbid, be brought back from the dead, here in the age of always, the bishop can do it. So, if you think on her, well, you'll become one of her flock. Now, the gunslinger, shit. Where do I start with this? Well, he's a warrior knight. He's stubborn and strong. He will not aid you if I'm around. That's just put that on the table. But if I should fall, there's no one better to help you through the age safely. Except maybe your Scarlet. See a mighty story in her. But anywho, think on the gunslinger and become a member of his posse. Finally, the queen. And you see his face fall a little bit. She sits on the Mobius throne inside the Azure Citadel. She rules the age of always and most of the other worlds, Van Halen's included. She cannot be thought on using this cauldron. But if you think on the many-headed court, the only other being in her presence, you'll see her. You won't know her like you'll know the others, but you'll see her as if you were standing and bearing witness. If you think on her, you become a servant of the queen. So my friend, you may pick two of these to think on. The ferryman, the bishop, the gunslinger, or the queen. Think on two of them. They will hold you in their heart, and you will learn about them. And when you meet in the flesh, there will already be an affinity.
Okay. You got any recommendations?
I'm biased, but it's a bet. You think on the gunslinger, you're betting that you're going to need him. You're thinking on the bishop, you're betting that you're going to need her. Who do you put the biggest wager on?
I think I'll I think I'll put most of my effort into the ferryman.
You get one more.
Well, we're all here for a reason, so I think we should probably stay here as long as we can, and if anything bad happens, I kind of think I'd like a way to fix it, so I think I'll think about the bishop.
Ferryman and the bishop it is. He reaches back and grabs another. Put some of this, just a pinch, 3-finger pinch, into the pot every 10 minutes. You stay in here until the sun begins to set. It's going to take a while. It always takes a while to really get to know somebody. When the sun goes down, head on back to the cabin. If Heather's still jumping in the water, pick her up too.
Okay.
Alrighty. Yep, see you. His knees pop as he crawls up and gets out. My friend, roll me whatever skill you want.
All right. Yep. Rough day.
You see as you start to think on the ferryman and the bishop, you start to see them from a great distance. Ferryman seems to be taking a group of older people along the road. His head's wrapped in a white turban, and he has a long white kind of loose fitting robe all over him as he kind of gestures, and you see the people walking beside. He kind of puts his arm underneath somebody that seems to be struggling, and they are walking along the road. When you look in on the bishop, you see fire. And as it pulls back, you see somebody burning at a stake. And a beautiful woman is staring at them with the reflection of fire in her eyes. And she slowly shakes her head. And that's when sunset takes you. As we switch back a little bit, door opens. Scarlet, you ready?
Yeah, about time. And she's already kind of like been pacing back and forth.
I'm sorry you had to wait, but I got people jumping off cliffs and putting their hands over roads and seeing things, and anywho, to us.
Okay. She has the baseball bats. Like, do I need this?
Oh no, you need those. And he points to the guns on your hips.
Okay. She like flips it and she catches it and then puts it on the counter, and then she follows him out.
He takes you in the opposite direction as everybody else went. You're moving away from the waterfall towards a large clearing. Kitty follows you and then snaps his gaze back in the last portion that he saw Heather disappear to. Now it's going to be your job to protect those you love from the dangers when the moment calls on it. You must attack those that mean harm and end them before they have a chance to do likewise.
Right.
Yeah. You play football.
Yeah.
You don't subscribe to that. The best offense is a good defense horse shit, do you?
No.
Good.
I don't play defense.
Good. Having a weapon is well and good here in the Age of Always, but unlike Garrett, nearly everyone's got a gun or sword or something. The only distinction lies in who can actually use their weapons. Those guns are special. I've only been near them a handful of times, and normally the wrong end, but felt their proximity is always so present and so tangible.
She will pull them out and then almost like she's practiced it, maybe she like flips them through her fingers, like with her fingers through like the oh no, I don't know gun terminology, but she flips them in her hands.
Yep. He's impressed. And you see him kind of struggle with something for a second. And then he goes ahead and asks it. May I see one?
No. Can I roll comprehend?
Oh, sure, yeah.
That
We
seems
could
very
figure
sus to G.
Okay, sure.
I want to know if he's getting any kind of weird vibes on that. Nope. No successes. But she says no.
Yeah, fair enough. I heard a lot about him. Roland's a bit of a fucking braggart, but whatever. Come on. And as you are walking through the forest heading towards the clearing, he pulls out his own gun from inside his denim jacket. You see this one? This was forged from the armor of Joan of Arc. No, I'm bullshitting you. I got it at Sears and Roebuck back in 1921.
Okay.
He shows the clearing off to you. And as you look, you see snow swirling. You see rain dropping in one area. You see the sun beaming through the snow into illuminating another area, and you see wildflowers blooming in one section of the clearing. Most of the Age of Always kind of sticks to its spots. Here's winter, there's spring, here's summer, there's fall. This clearing, call it the glade. All of them are here at once. And in the glade, or some people call it the perennial, the only way to get through it is to walk through all the seasons. To experience them, each of them. He takes his gun and he shoots 3 times. You see a rock explode off and to the right. You see a flower explode off and to the left. And you see a bluebird explode and drop to the middle of the field. When you pull those guns, this ain't a flower or a rock or a bird. They're targets. You pull those guns out, you hit your target. Guns will do the rest. What I need you to do, I need you to hit your target, Scarlet. You're walking through this clearing, walk through the perennial, and each season, you pick a target and you shoot. Some of them are easier to hit than others. Once you're through, you should have 2 bullets left. You fire them into the air. 1 for the queen, and 1 for all the slingers that came before you. You understand?
She just nods. Yes, coach. I mean, flag.
Smiles for a second. You know they have gunslingers here, people that wield those types of guns. Here they train boys who die and fight with those. They only train boys. They won't train girls.
Typical.
Remind you of anything?
Yeah. Same damn story.
I can't think of anybody better to be wearing that rig. You walk through this glade. You show all of them. Mistakes have been made. You're going to prove them wrong. There's more ammo in the tin by the tree. Reload each time you walk through the glade. You'll know when it works. 4 seasons will become 1.
Okay.
Straight gunslinger.
She just nods and she turns towards her task.
Gee, I want you to roll me a skill.
Yeah, she's gonna move. She's gonna roll move.
Before you roll it, I will ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
In each season, there's an easier target. There is a rock or a flower. But then there are harder targets. A bird, a rabbit. What do you shoot at? The living or the non-living?
No. Mm.
This is what type of gunslinger.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know.
Why don't you pick one, take a trip through the glade. Start with the rocks.
Yeah. And when she turns away from him, she just runs forward. And she's gonna roll move.
You're going to John Wick this shit. I love it.
Yeah.
Full sprint.
1 success.
No matter what and I'll leave this up to you, G, for another time, but no matter what Scarlet shoots at, the seasons never become one. But the guns start to feel right. They start to feel like extensions of your own arm. They start to feel like the ball does in football whenever you drop back, where it's yours, you're aiming, you're firing, you are in control.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
an extension of her arm when she when she aims at her target, and she doesn't even have to. It's not like she's pointing with her hand, she's looking with her eye, and she just shoots.
Fantastic. All of you roll and investigate.
2 for Scarlet.
1 for Heather.
One for JD.
Ricky, you may push your
0
luck if
for
you
Ricky.
want.
Nope.
Okay. So throughout the course of the day that each of you spend at your various tasks and labors, JD, Heather, and Scarlet, at some point, and JD, this would be when you emerged from your lean-to, each of you catch a glimpse of a figure, tall, gaunt. Who had the 2 successes? Scarlet?
Yeah.
You see a long beard that touches the belt. And everything is kind of silhouetted against the sun. So actual characteristics beyond just like the extension of chin hair or the thinness of the frame are kind of lost in that blur of darkness. But each of you see this figure, and as soon as you recognize this anomaly, they duck behind a tree, spring into the forest, hide behind a rock. And if explored or approached, the tree has nothing behind it. The forest hides no secrets. The rock, just a rock. And as you all return home from your first day of learning, that day becomes a week as you begin to practice these trials and labors over and over. You're not discouraged because Randall doesn't seem to be discouraged for you. Eternity Road waits, and perhaps along its blacktop lies the answers you all seek. A step is taken as the ones behind fade from the knowing. Now is the time of amber as moments string together into fable and the beginning of one more tale. And now it's time for us to step away from Atari Twilight Age of Always Episode 1 and step toward Atari Twilight Age of Always Episode 2, Behind Stars and Under Hills. And that will be all for today. My friends, let's go around and say goodbye to everybody, and then I will sling it over to my main man, Mike. Let's start with Melissa. Melissa, how are you? Where can we find you? And all that good stuff.
I'm great. I'm so happy to be back in Atari Twilight. It feels like coming home. Where can you find me? You can find me in Discord and following all these lovely people when they're doing awesome things.
Fantastic. Let's jump over to Bacon. Bacon, my friend, how are you? Where can we find you? All that good
Good.
stuff.
Good. I am very happy to be back as well. This was really fun. It's a very special group that we play with, so it's good to be back. As of right now, I haven't really been doing anything, but you can find me on Twitter at As Told by Dice and on Instagram, Minis by Mitchell. I've posted a couple of minis that I've started painting, but I have a kid on the way in May, so I've been kind of MIA a lot of the time. So I've been very busy with that. So yeah, hopefully I can be a little bit more active as things calm down, whenever that might be.
Oh, I've got news for you, buddy.
yeah.
That doesn't happen, but
Yeah.
you'll adjust perfectly fine.
I'm sure,
Let's
I'm
jump
sure.
over to G. G, where are you, my friend? Where can we find you? All that good stuff.
Hi, I'm G, your friendly neighborhood lightning invoker. You can find me where everything unMadeGaming is. Modding during the week. I'm the community manager in the Discord. You can find me on Twitter, lightningspaz09. And in about an hour and a half, Chris and I will be back for the Patreon campaign, The Rise. So yeah, stick around and watch some more games with us. And that's me.
Fantastic. And as we go over to Necro, one last thing. As Ricky comes back from the road, Flag is outside by the wood pile admiring all of the wood that's been cut. He's stacking it, according to his preference of size. Road talk to you? You're muted. I can't hear you, but
Muted?
there you are.
There you are. He looks at me and goes, "No, not yet, but soon."
Now don't get discouraged. Got anything on your mind?
Got to get things done. Got to do what we got to do.
Good boy. Got some more wood.
Yes, sir.
Walks inside. Necro, where can we find you? And all that good stuff.
You can find me with G in an hour and a half or whatever it is for the Rise Patreon one shots next weekend. Other than that, just doing mundane things in the Discord.
Fantastic. And with that, someone who's definitely not mundane, I flip it over to Mike. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm fairly mundane. Way to throw an inside joke onto the internet that only the people in this game and myself are aware of. Fantastic. This was awesome. Amazing to be back in the world of Atari Twilight. I'm always super jazzed to see the Keystones. We're all in a state of we never thought Atari Twilight would go this far. Three seasons and a 2-season spinoff, an epic crossover. It's been a time for this, so I'm excited to see what happens in the Age of Always, despite my dismay that the unfortunate Keystones think that the big bad is who disappeared the loop. It is heart crushing. It is heart crushing for me as the player of the person who disappeared the loop, who thought they were doing the right thing. But I'm very excited to be back.
Mike, not spoilers, but in a way, the big bad is the one.
Shut up, Greg. Shut up.
For those of us who watched season 3, yep.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be back here. So, guys, stay tuned for this regular occurrence at irregular intervals to be appearing on your Saturday schedules. I can't wait to see where this goes. And I can't wait to slowly tease out reveals for the future of Atari Twilight. That was your first one. There's a future other than this. So that'll be super cool. But that's it for us. We will be out of here for now. Again, we're going to be coming back a little bit later today for another one-shot, or another episode of our campaign, rather, our Cypher System campaign. But that's it from us. If you like what we do here and you want to support the channel, Patreon, link down in the description down below. Join us over there. Join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. And thank you all for hanging out with us. That's it from us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.